President Trump just gave Iran a warning that could not be any clearer. The clock is ticking. Multiple news outlets are now reporting that Trump is telling Iran to get moving fast, accept a deal before it's too late. According to the report, Trump said Iran is not where we need them to be and warned that if they do not get there, they could be hit badly. That is a major statement because what Trump is saying here is simple. America is willing to make a deal, but Iran does not get to drag this out forever. They do not get to stall. They don't get to enrich, threaten shipping lanes, and play games with the world while the world waits, basically. So what do they do next? And this is where the media is going to miss the point. They will call this reckless. They'll call it dangerous. They will say Trump is escalating. But the truth is, this is what peace through strength looks like. And you can see the president's X post. You give the enemy a choice. You come to the table, make a real deal, or face the consequences. So today's video, we're going to break down Trump's warning, what multiple outlets are reporting about the stalled Iran talks, why the Strait of Hormuz matters so much, whether this deadline means military strikes, and whether they're really backing onto the table here. There was one other thing that the president came out with this morning in a blistering attack on the news media. If Iran surrenders, admits their navy is gone and resting at the bottom of the sea, and their air force is no longer with us, and if their entire military walks out of Tehran, weapons dropped and hands held high, each shouting, "I surrender," while wildly waving the representative white flag, and if their entire remaining leadership signs all necessary documents of surrender and admit their defeat to the great power and force of the magnificent USA, the failing New York Times, the China Street Journal, talking about the Wall Street Journal, corrupt and now irrelevant CNN, and all other members of the fake news media will headline that Iran had a masterful and brilliant victory over the United States of America. It wasn't even close. He calls them out as the Democrats and media have totally lost their way. They have gone absolutely crazy. President DJT. Now, the president is no fan of the news media. Basically, the first real president that we've seen, especially in my lifetime, that has made pointed attacks at the news media, actually pushing back on them. And I think in this, he very well has some legs to stand on. This article is from Breitbart, and it goes into a lot of the demands. I've got some stuff here of what they actually want. They want no repayment of reparations or compensation. Sorry. Iran wants 5 of its own preconditions before any negotiations. They want to end the war on all fronts, particularly Lebanon, that Hezbollah proxy they have. They want lifting of all anti-Iran sanctions that would unfreeze billions of dollars that is frozen, the Iranian assets. They want compensation for war damages. So any buildings that were destroyed, loss of life, they want to be paid for that. And they want U.S. recognition of Iran's sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. Now, there's no mention here about nuclear enrichment, which is very important. That's one of the holdups here. The president, the White House, has they say no payment of reparations, removal and transfer of 400 kilograms of enriched uranium from Iran to U.S., only one Iranian nuclear facility to operate, remain in operation, no release of even 25% of Iran's assets, halt to a war on all fronts contingent on completing negotiations first. I don't know if Iran is going to come to the table with this. The enrichment of the uranium, the frozen assets, we know what Iran likes to fund. We know where they like to spend their money, and they like spending their money on things that are not the most healthy for the American people. But we've got multiple sources coming out this morning. CNN is, and I know a lot of people don't like CNN, but they're also going with the president is convening his national security team. Apparently they met yesterday. They plan to meet today and Tuesday. Could this be a resumption of military strikes in that area?
I tried to work a deal with these guys, and it just doesn't seem possible. And where we are, we're on the cusp of going back into military operations. When we stopped, Bill and Dana, we had 2 weeks to go, a little less than 30% of the targets. Those targets remain, but we have better intelligence now after these 5-6 weeks. So that target list is expanded. It's considerably more comprehensive. It'll be a combined operation with the United States and Israel going full throttle, all out, no half measures here whatsoever.
This might be the only thing that Iran understands, is to go after their infrastructure, go after their bridges, go after their power, go after more of these enrichment sites, go after some of their military facilities. I don't believe that the president is taking any of this lightly. And for the better part of 6 weeks, he has warned and warned them again. And the warnings have not worked. I believe there were probably some conversations between the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, and our president that has led him to do this, or has led him to the next major decision there. And that is, America's defense strength depends on secure supply chains. And one critical metal is at the center of that fight: tungsten. Tungsten is used in defense, aerospace, munitions, and advanced manufacturing. But America hasn't commercially mined it in years, leaving a major gap that Washington is now working to close. That's where Vault Strategic Mining comes in, trading under NOx in Canada and KNX FF in the U.S. Vault is focused on revitalizing historic tungsten projects in mining-friendly American states, including a flagship project in Nevada's proven tungsten belt. With critical minerals becoming a national priority and tungsten demand rising, Vault is positioning itself in the middle of America's push for domestic supply. To learn more, check out Vault Strategic Mining's latest presentation at the link in the description. And I want to say thanks to Vault Strategic Mining Corp for sponsoring today's video. This is not financial advice. Investing involves your own risk. Please do your own due diligence and research. Let's get back to the video. It's not going to be healthy for anyone that is a member of the Iranian government. And you see here, this clock is ticking. They better get moving fast or there won't be anything left. Time is of the essence. We have wasted a lot of effort. We have wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy trying to get them to the table. The news media is probably could be part of the problem here, especially here in the United States. I never realized how many people would so quickly turn on the president after they supported him through the first administration and now into the second administration. But it's really evident. You have people like Tucker Carlson, you've got Megyn Kelly that are, I would say, persuaded. I can't make any assumptions other than just the obvious of how obvious that their flip was. Now, there's other things that are happening there in the Middle East that are going to cause some problems for Iran. Apparently, they launched a drone strike at the nuclear power plant in the United Arab Emirates. It's the only nuke power plant there. The UAE left OPEC, which is very well what could have caused this to be a problem for the Iranians. Now, Iran just came out and started their own X page, PGSA Iran. And this is the official account of the Persian Gulf Strait Authority. And this is a X page where they are basically trying to monitor or control the flow of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't seem like Iran really wants to come to the negotiating table. It doesn't seem like they want to meet anyone halfway on anything. They believe they have all the leverage. And sadly, when they believe they have all the leverage, that is probably going to cause them the most pain as a country. There's a lot of innocent people there that are probably going to get into some suffering. Got another image here. This is a Air Force airlift operation. You can see What you'll see behind me here is an Air Force airlift operation. You can see multiple C-17s and other tanker type aircraft are flying from England back on their way to the Middle East, back to the Persian Gulf. And this is a bad sign. This is a bad sign for the Iranian Republic. You can see there where they're taking off from, where they're landing, because I can guarantee you they're taking things that are probably going to be used into the implementation of resumption of military strikes there in that area. If I were Iran, I would be watching this. These planes are not taking empty. These planes are full of cargo, and the cargo is probably going to be munitions and supplies. That's with the resumption of this military Air Force airlift. Iran should probably really take notice. Those planes are full of supplies. They're probably full of weapons. They're probably full of other, very well could be full of personnel. I don't know what the next move is for the president, but the moves are happening. I don't know the next move for the president, but all signs are pointing towards a resumption of military airstrikes. You now have Pakistan deploying a squadron of jets and thousands of troops to Saudi Arabia. Pakistan has played the mediator for quite a while. That doesn't seem to be the answer now. They have apparently deployed 8,000 troops, as well as JF-17 drones, HQ-9 air defense system. Saudi Arabia is financing this deployment. Some of Iran's allies are actively turning on them. It's very clear. You've got a Gaza aid flotilla, says they intercepted 10 boats. You can see this here. So this is Iranians in their speedboats getting intercepted, getting captured. They probably are either trying to escape and leave the IRGC, or maybe conduct some kind of targeting of U.S. military forces in and around that area. I don't know. Love to get your opinion on what you think is about to happen in the Middle East, but this is going to escalate very quickly. Iran has run out of options. They have run out of moves. I think as well they've backed our president into a decision that he might not have any other options either, because they are not doing anything towards coming to any level of peace. With that being said, thank you for watching. Really appreciate you tuning in. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.